Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Political Ray. We've got some stuff going on. Big story being Dan Bongino being being named as the assistant director of the FBI, just below Cash Patel. Pretty exciting for me. I'm okay with it, and I'm on board with it. A lot of people coming out saying that he's unqualified, yada yada yada. He's not, and we'll get into that. Joy Reid is still trending number one on X for some unknown reason. People, if they didn't know who she was, they know now because it's all over X and it doesn't seem to be going away. But anyway, we got that, and I'll get into that a bit. And we got Dan Crenshaw saying that if he ever met face to face with Tucker Carlson, that he'd probably kill him. Um, that's pretty bold, and we'll get into that. And also, we got Vivek Ramaswamy says that he's gonna make a political run. So we'll get into that as well. Anyway, first off, we'll get into the Dan Bongino thing. He has been selected as the assistant director of the FBI, and we'll take a look at this here. This is from Donald Trump's Truth Social, and this is just him saying, great news for law enforcement and American justice. Dan Bongino, a man of incredible love and passion for our country, has just been named the next deputy director of the FBI by the man who will be the best ever director, Cash Patel. Dan has a master's degree in psychology from CUNY and an MBA from Penn State. He was a member of the New York Police Department, New York's finest, a highly respected special agent within the United States Secret Service, and is now one of the most successful podcasters in the country. Excuse me, something he is willing to and prepared to give up in order to serve. Working with our great new United States Attorney General Pam Bondi and Director Patel, fairness, justice, law, and order will be brought back to America and quickly. Congrats, Dan. Okay, so this I think isn't. I'm okay with this, and a lot of people, like I said, they're going to come out. They're saying, he's just another podcaster. We've got a weekend Fox News host in Pete Hegseth, and now we've got Dan Bongino, a podcaster. Look, but they're just negating the fact of their actual qualifications. Being Pete Hegseth is a very highly decorated soldier within the military, and the weekend Fox News host thing was just what he was doing recently. But that's what they take out of it. Dan Bongino is a former New York police officer, and he worked within the Secret Service. So, I mean, the guy's qualified. He may not have been in the FBI, but he's very qualified. And as far as like running an FBI, he's been running his podcast for how many years now? The guy's successful. You can't negate the fact that he's done a very good job. He's got a very big following. I don't watch his show. I think I've caught clips of it here and there, but I don't watch it personally, but I'm still okay with the pick. The guy is obviously very successful, and I'm okay with this. Anyway, we'll get into this. Dan Bongino, he put out on his podcast just his announcement saying that he is going to accept the job, and we'll take a look at this. This is him. He gets a little emotional, and I can understand why. He's been doing the Dan Bongino show for a very long time now, and he's had a lot of success doing it. So for him to just walk away, for one, look, he's taking a big pay cut doing this. He makes a lot of money doing his podcast, and to give it up and go help this administration weed out and do everything that they need to do within the FBI says a lot about his character. He's willing to give up all this money that he does doing his show, which he's still going to have something. He says, in this clip that he's still going to have a show going, but I'm sure he'll come back to it after he fulfills his obligations within the FBI. But we'll take a look at this, and y'all can let me know, but I think it's going to be just fine. Anyway.
I'm going to accept the role proudly as the deputy director, the number 2 spot at the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Folks, it's a lot to walk away from.
I can imagine.
I will tell you everything what happened within reason. And then I got a show to do, and I'm going to tell you what's going to happen with the show. So it's going to be a pretty wild ride today. Man, do we have a lot to talk about. I'm going to play for you in the beginning, too, a speech I gave that someone sent to me from 11 years ago. And you'll see why I decided to make this decision. So a lot to do today. Thank you so much for kind of a big audience here right away out of the shoot. So thank you very much.
Yeah, this news broke, and then when he started this show, apparently he got massive numbers as far as watching that show because everybody wanted to see what he was going to say about it. So
I love you guys. And Bongino Army out there, I hope you understand. I got a couple of negative comments, Dan, you should have let us know. I hope you understand about this. This is not you do not ever get ahead of the President of the United States, the Attorney General, and the Director of the FBI. You don't do that. Not when you take positions like that. It's not the right thing to do. So now you understand.
Okay, like I said, I'm fine with it. I think, look, I don't have the show that he does. My 5, reoccurring people that watch me. I appreciate it. And every new person that comes on, I hope you stick around. But this guy is giving up a lot. Okay. A lot. I can only imagine him being able to just walk away. And like I said, he's going to come back. I'm sure of it. But him walking away from the kind of money that he's making on this show, imagine the pay cut that he's going to take going into the FBI as the assistant director. He's still going to make pretty decent money unless he does something like President Trump has done and, only taking $1 of his salary. Unless he does something like that, it's still going to be a big pay cut from what he makes on his show. So I give the guy props. I wish him all the best of luck, and I hope him and Cash do a fantastic job, which I think they will. So there's that. Anyway, we're going to go on. We'll go ahead and get on to the Joy Reid stuff here. This is insane to me that this is still going on. It came out over the weekend, and I know it's only Tuesday, but this is... Anyway, we'll get into this. Look, this is from the Post Millennial, and this is just... my show had value. Joy Reid cries after MSNBC cancels her show. Look, I said it yesterday in my show that, look, this woman, I didn't get too much deeply into this, but we're going to get a little bit more into it today just because it's still running, making its rounds. It's still trending #1 on X, and we'll get into it, and I'll tell you my opinion on this. I gave you a little bit of it yesterday, but look, this woman, this is my opinion from what I've seen of her. I have watched her show, not a whole lot of them, but I have seen it. I've watched clips. I've watched the show itself. This woman, she's a race baiter. I think her in herself is racist. I do not like her. And the fact that she got fired, I'm not sad to see her go. A lot of people aren't. But this woman, her whole entire show was based around attacking the right, attacking President Trump, and not delivering accurate news. There's a big news story that came out that, MSNBC got sued over. Her show didn't cover it, but it's just, look, MSNBC is losing viewers tremendously. And legacy media, mainstream media, whatever you want to say, they are losing this battle to, independent news outlets, such as people like me. Like I said, I don't have a very big following. Like I said, the 5 people that actually do watch me, I appreciate. But I just do this because I complain about politics all the time anyway. I might as well complain into a camera and see if anybody else shares my opinions. But this woman, I'm okay with her being gone. Look, like I said, I believe that she's a racist and she's a race baiter, and her whole show was talking crap about the right side of the aisle. So, And she came out and put this video out, and I think this is why it's still getting traction. She came out with a video and her crying on the video saying that her show had merit and everything else, and I don't believe that it did, and a lot of people don't. In the wake of MSNBC canceling her show, Joy Reid cried on a Sunday podcast episode claiming that her show had value. My show had value, she says, as she began to cry. I'm sorry, I try not to cry on TV, and I think this is kind of like TV. Apologize. She continued being handed tissues. Reid said her show mattered, and added that she felt a moment of guilt for going so hard on so many issues. The issue she went hard on was attacking President Trump and the right. That's it. That's all. Anyway, we'll take a quick look at the clip, and you can let me know. You can let me know what you think.
But also that my show had value.
No, it didn't.
And that, I'm sorry, that that what I was doing had value.
No, it didn't.
Had value. And in the end, I'm sorry, I try not to cry on TV. And I say this is kind of like me on TV, so I apologize. And then it mattered. I see Karen is there, and she's been texting me as well. And so what I will just say is that in the end, thank you. Where I land is that the moment of guilt that I felt that I went hard on so many issues, whether it was the Black Lives Matter issues of a young baby or a mom or a dad that was.
How about the fact that Black Lives Matter took in somewhere about, what was it, $90 million? The co-founder of the organization had like 3 houses worth over $1 million each. And how much of that money was actually put towards the organization and helping out the black community? Tell me that, because it wasn't a lot. I can tell you that for sure. How about the fact that you didn't report on that at all? You boasted these people up. These people took in over $90 million as an organization and didn't do anything to help out the black community. How about your report on that you never did?
Killed, or when we opened up people's eyes to the fact that Asian Americans were being targeted, and not just black folks, or went hard for immigrants who've done nothing.
The whole Stop Asian Hate thing was a top story for a week before it went away. And then it went away because they found out it was a certain group of people that were actually doing the Asian hate. So it went away very, very quickly. Nobody reported on it after that.
But come to this country like my parents did and try to make a life and defended them. Or whether we've talked about what the president is doing that is subversive to the Constitution, that is injurious to our liberty, defending books that people find inconvenient, that Nicole Hannah-Jones put into our spirit, that we need to understand 1619 as the real founding of this country, whether it's...
1619 is not the real founding of this country. Don't listen to them when they push that crap. It's frustrating.
Talking about any of these issues, and yes, whether it's talking about Gaza and the fact that we as the American people have a right to object, to little babies being bombed. And where I come down on that is I'm not sorry. I am not sorry that I stood up for those things, because those things are of God.
Okay, so that being shown, listen, this is just the quotes from the video. Reid's final show will air this week, and after that, the 7 p.m. hour will be featured a panel show helmed by former Democrat strategist Simone Saunders Townsend, Alicia Mendez, and former RNC chair Michael Steele. Coulter was reporting angered that news of the cancellation had leaked to the press, and staffers on the show heard about the show's end from the press rather than the leadership, Status reported. In the 30-minute meeting, it was also revealed that the entire staff had been laid off from the program. Well, yeah, when you cancel a show, that's usually how it goes, isn't it? Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's usually how it goes. I could be wrong. I'm not in with the in and outs of, mainstream media. I don't know exactly how it goes, but I would imagine that if a show get canceled, the support staff, they go with the show. They don't get to stick around. I could be wrong. Maybe. I don't know. Let's see. So we'll move on to this Rachel Maddow. She had a 4-minute little spiel, I guess you could say, about the fact of her friend being let go from MSNBC. Rachel Maddow, excuse me, the same person that has a $20+ million contract with MSNBC, and until recently was doing one show a week, and is supposedly reported to she's going to actually go back to just one show a week and still keep her salary of, I don't know how much she makes per year. I don't know what the contract details are. I just know that it's a $20+ million contract. So she's making a buttload of money to do one show a week. Like I said, she's doing more than one a week right now. I think she's scheduled for 5 shows every week right now. But she is scheduled to go back to just one day a week, like she was doing before. How do you pay somebody that much money for one show a week? I don't understand it, but anyway. Let's take a look at what Rachel Maddow has to say about her friend being let go.
PM hour all the other nights except for Mondays. So that's a big change. An even bigger programming change is at 7 p.m. 7 p.m. Eastern, where Joy Reid's show, The Reid Out, ended tonight. And Joy is not taking a different job in the network. She is leaving the network altogether. And that is very, very, very hard to take. I am 51 years old. I have been gainfully employed since I was 12.
Okay.
And I have had so many different kinds of jobs, you wouldn't believe me if I told you.
Okay, what does that have to do with anything? I'm just going to say on the onset here. Okay, I've been employed since I was 14 years old. What does that got to do with anything? Nothing. She's just...
But in all of the jobs I have had, in all of the years I have been alive, there is no colleague for whom I have had more affection and more respect than Joy Reid. I love everything about her. I have learned so much from her. I have so much more to learn from her. I do not want to lose her as a colleague here at MSNBC. And personally, I think it is a bad mistake to let her walk out the door. It is not my call, and I understand that, but that's what I think. I will tell you, it is also unnerving to see that on a network where we've got two non-white hosts in primetime, both of our non-white hosts in primetime are losing their shows, as is Katie Fang on the weekend.
Tell me one thing. This is something I'm genuinely curious about. To me, this sounds like she's just openly calling the network that she works on. She's calling her network racist because they let go of the 2 people of color, as it were. And apparently that the Fang lady, I don't even know who that is. I'll be honest with you. I don't know who that is. Apparently, she's going to lose her slot, too. She's openly calling her network racist. In what world would you be allowed to get away with this other than in the world that we live in now? It's ridiculous to me. If I was ahead at MSNBC, just that comment alone from Maddow would cause me to... there'd have to be some kind of discipline handed out to her for just, how do you get away with calling your own network out like this? If at my job, if I was to openly bash my bosses in open setting, I'd be fired. That's all there's to it.
And that feels worse than bad, no matter who replaces them. That feels indefensible, and I do not defend it. But there's just one other piece of it that you should know. From your side of the TV screen, you will mostly see changes in terms of who's in the anchor chair. And actually, everybody who's going to be in anchor chairs from here on out are great colleagues and great at what they do, and you are not going to be disappointed in who's on our air and what you're going to be seeing. But one thing you cannot...
Joy Reid was good at blaming the right for every single problem within the U.S., and that's about it. That's what she was good at. That's it. Anyway.
Necessarily see is that the people who get our shows on the air, they're really being put through the ringer. Dozens of producers and staffers, including some who are among the most experienced and most talented and most specialist producers in the building, are facing being laid off. They're being invited to reapply for new jobs.
Okay.
That has never happened at this scale in this way before when it comes to programming changes, presumably because it's not the right way to treat people. And
whatever. Any job that you go to, you have to produce. You have to do your job. You have to do it well. If you can't perform your job, if you can't produce what you need to at that per said job, you're going to be let go. That's life. You have to actually do your job and do it well and produce. In the case of mainstream media and legacy media, you have to produce numbers. I'm not gonna watch any more of this Maddow. I can't watch this woman. Anyway, let me explain to everybody here. This is from the Daily Mail. This is Joy Reid's. She was canceled because her ratings are plummeting, and there's no signs of uptick. There was a little bit of an uptick during the presidential election, and then again during the week of inauguration. Other than that, her numbers have just plummeted. This is why she was let go, because nobody likes to watch this woman. She's just not somebody that people watch. That's all there is to it. And let me show you this, because this is, like I said, this is Daily Mail, and the fact that they can't cope with the fact that oh my gosh, it's not going to let me scroll, is it? Hold on, let me get this up here. I'll just bring it up here. I've got it maybe somewhere. Let's see. Oh gosh, goodness gracious. Let's see. Let me just search it up here. All right, here we go. Okay. Joy Reid's, look, I'm going to read this off. It's not letting me scroll it for some reason. I don't know why OBS it acts up on me sometimes like this, but sometimes it happens. Anyway, you can go look this up too as well. This is dailymail.com. This shows Joy Reid's MSNBC show is canceled as ratings plummet. MSNBC has canceled Joy Reid's evening show amid the network's plummeting ratings, according to a report. Look, I'm going to scroll down. I'm just going to read off a couple things here. Let's see. Where's it at? Where was it? Okay. MSNBC lagged to just 45,000 viewers during the day and just 63,000 during the peak hours of night, with Maddow experiment seemingly failing. Let's see. That was for the Maddow numbers. Let's see where are the Joy Reid numbers? Let's see. It was something ridiculously low. CNN securing 522,000, and like a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, Ray, that's a lot of people watching." Yeah, it's a lot of people, but I'm gonna show you a comparison. 30 million lawsuit. Okay, that was that. Anyway, it was really low. It was really low as far as ratings go. And a lot of people say, well, that's still a lot of people. 70, I want to say it was like 70,000. Don't quote me, but I want to say during the Joy Reid news slot, she was averaging about 70,000 people, which is a lot of people. I'll give her credit. I mean, it's not insane, but look at this. I'm just going to show you this. I couldn't find the actual news outlet that said how many he was getting, but look, this is Timcast IRL, this is independent media, okay? And this is just, it goes back to what I was saying before, that the mainstream media and legacy media, they're losing out to independent media, people like Timcast and Louder with Crowder, Dan Bongino. They're losing their viewership because they're not genuine, and people are actually going to watch other things because especially now with Rumble, and you got Rumble Premium, which I recommend. But look, this is from the Timcast IRL just last night. Just last night, within the last 11 hours, okay? 245,000 views. That's just from his show last night. That's the prime time slot time. The same slot time. Now compare that to Joy Reid was getting somewhere on average about 70,000 viewers in the prime time slot. Timcast IRL goes on at the same time during that prime time slot. He's getting 245,000 views. He is crushing the mainstream media. This is, like I said, it just goes back to what I was saying. The mainstream media is a dying breed. And yes, Tim talks a lot about the fact that these mainstream media, they are dying, but they're going to start coming into, I mean, they're already in like YouTube and everything else, but they're going to flood YouTube. And they're going to dump a lot of money into independent podcasters, YouTubers who are on the left. Harry Sisson being one of the main ones. He's already getting a crap ton of money to push leftist talking points. And it's just because nobody watches mainstream media anymore. It is a dying breed. And I don't think it'll last much longer. But they're going to flood the market as far as YouTube. And I don't know if they'll try and come into Rumble. I'm sure they will. Rumble's getting a lot more, it's getting bigger. A lot more people are going over to Rumble just because it is a free speech platform. They don't censor you for things that you might say or may not say. Excuse me. Anyway, that being said, let's go ahead and we'll just move on to the Dan Crenshaw movie. This is, excuse me, dang it. This is crazy to me, okay? Dan Crenshaw, it was caught on a hot mic. This is from the Post Millennial. Caught on a hot mic, says he would kill Tucker Carlson if they ever met. Tucker invites him to sit down to do an interview. This is wild. This is wild. What happened to Dan Crenshaw? Look, I can tell you right, when Dan first ran for office, I was part of the group, that said, look, this guy, he's a former Navy SEAL. He's pretty cool, He seems like he's America first, everything else. But what happened to this guy? Everybody liked this guy. And now he just seemed like more, once he got into office, maybe it's a thing, because a lot of people say once you get into office, you may have good intentions while you're running for the first time, but once you get into office, you've got lobbyists and everything else, and now you can't just look out for just America. You got to look out for yourself and these lobbyists, because you're getting a lot of donations and whatnot and everything else. So maybe it's that. Maybe, I don't know. But something happened to Dan, and he's just off his rocker nowadays. But anyway, let's take a look at this from, like I said, from the Post Millennial. Get rid of that. Let's see. U.S. Congressman Dan Crenshaw was caught on a hot mic telling a Great Britain news interviewer that if he ever met Tucker Carlson, he would kill him. Crenshaw's comment came after he was asked by host Stephen Eddington if he had ever met Carlson. He can be heard responding, "If I ever met him, I'd effing kill him," followed by something along the lines of, "He's the worst person ever." Look, I'm just going to say on the onset rather. I don't know if he meant it just, it doesn't matter how he meant it, as far as like, you don't say that about a news reporter, and you can say Carlson, he's part of the independent media as far as today's media goes. I don't care what context you meant it in, because he might not have meant it literally. It doesn't matter. You don't say that about somebody in the media. You just don't. Anyway, following the video's circulation on X and a response from Elon Musk asking why Crenshaw was homicidal regarding Tucker Carlson, why didn't you come sit for an interview and we'll see how you do? I'll send you my address. This is from Tucker. Props to Tucker, for saying, hey, look, if you want to talk, we'll have a sit down, figure out what your problem is with me. I'm all for that. Crenshaw has been vocally critical of Carlson in the past. A post from 24 from Crenshaw reads, "This is who Tucker is, a click chaser. Tucker's MO is simple. Defend America's enemies and attacks America's allies. There isn't an objective bone left in that washed-up news host body. Mindless." I'm not even going to try to read that. "He is guiding principle, but dressed by his childish tactic to just ask the questions. But any educated adult, especially one with such a long career in journalism, should occasionally try answering some of those questions objectively." Anyway. Let's see. There's his little post. He does this for one simple reason: clicks and engagement, which of course translate to monetary benefit. He wants you to believe that he is the last piece you can go to for truth. That he's only one brave enough to reveal the elitists' lies being told. This nonsense about Christian mistreatment in Israel is just the latest example. Well, anyway. If you, I guess I don't see the video on here. I was hoping to play the video, but look, you can go watch the video. It's all over X. I don't see why would. Well, I can, because he thought the mic was off and it wasn't, so he went ahead and said it. I mean, do I think he meant it literally? Probably not. But like I said, it doesn't matter. And I'd like to know what happened to Dan. Like I said, when he was running way back in 2016, he seemed like a patriot. He seemed like, a good guy. He former Navy SEAL, retired, I think in 15 or 14, one of the two, I think. But what happened to this guy? Like I said, he gets into office, and the only thing we ever hear about him anymore is negative. So it just makes you wonder. It makes you wonder what happens actually behind closed doors, and what these people go through every day, and what they see, and what they seem to falter to as far as lobbyists and everything else. That's the only thing I can think of as far as like why he changed so much. He gets, I don't know. Anyway, we'll move on here to Vivek. All right, Vivek has announced that he is going to be running for Congress in Ohio. Check this out. We'll take a look at this video. I haven't actually watched this yet, so we'll take a look at this and see.
President Trump is reviving our conviction in America. We require a leader here at home who will revive our conviction in Ohio. And that is why today I am honored to announce that I am running to be the next governor of a great state at the heart of the greatest nation known to mankind, the state where I was born and raised. The state where Apurva and I raise our two sons today. A state whose best days are still ahead. I am honored to announce my candidacy to serve as the next governor of the state of Ohio.
Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't agree on everything Vivek says. Just like I don't agree with everything that Trump says. I don't agree with everything that Elon says. I don't agree with a lot of these people, but the majority of what they say, I'm okay with, and I'd like to see some change in a lot of places. Vivek, I can tell you, he's a self-made guy. Now, it is a little worrisome because he did make his bones in the pharmaceutical industry, so that does concern me just a little bit. Wondering, if he's gonna look out for the American people or for pharmaceutical companies. So that gives me a little bit of pause, but overall, the guy does say the right things. He pushes himself out and says all the right things. Look, I'm okay with him. I do like the guy. Not to take anything away from him. Like I said, he's self-made, so he's not going to be beholden to donors and everything else. He's made his own money, so he's got plenty of it. I forget what his net worth is, but he's got plenty of money. So he's not going to be beholden to donors and everybody else. He can go in there like President Trump has. He can go into this because he can use his own money for the campaign and everything else, and he's not beholden to donors. He can use his own money for this, so he can tell the donors and everybody else to screw off and, whatever he wants to do. So I'm okay with Vivek. I do like the guy. Like I said, I say some negative things about him, but I do worry about him just a little bit as far as where he made his bones. That being said, I do like the guy. I think he would do good for Ohio. I'd like to see him in there, but we'll see what happens.
I will lead Ohio to be the top state in the country to start and grow a new business. I will lead Ohio to be the top state in the country to raise a young family. I'll lead Ohio to be the top state in the country where our kids get a world-class education in math, reading, writing, critical thinking, and physical education. I will lead Ohio to be the top state in the country where we give our kids the toolkit to think of themselves not as victims, but as victors.
There you go. I like that. See?
Economy. We will lead Ohio to be the top state in the country where we embrace capitalism and meritocracy instead of apologizing for it.
Yes.
We will lead Ohio to be the top state in the country that takes a hatchet to red tape, overregulation, and bureaucracy. We will lead Ohio to be the top state in the country where we lead the way in the sectors of the future, from semiconductors to aerospace. I will lead Ohio to be the top state in the country where patriots across America actually flock to instead of Florida and Texas. I will lead Ohio to be the state of excellence in America.
I like the guy. I mean, like I said, I like the guy. I think he's got some good plans. It kind of reminds me, take what he said, and it kind of reminds me of President Trump. He's gonna come in. He's gonna take a sledgehammer to everything. He's gonna clean up stuff. I think him being governor of Ohio, I think it's a good fit for him. I mean, that's where he was born and raised, like he said. And he can clean up the bureaucracy within the state, just like President Trump is doing at the executive branch. I think it would be a good thing. Like I said, I do worry a little bit about where he made his bones. But that being said, I do like the guy, and I think he'd be a good governor. So hopefully that can come to fruition, and we'll get him in there too. But we'll see. But anyway, that's all I got for this morning. I know it was a little bit longer of a ramble, but hey, if you like what you saw, you can follow me on Rumble. You can subscribe on YouTube. You can also follow me on X at ThePoliticalRay. And I hope you liked what you saw. Y'all have a blessed day, and I'll see you later.